Hello, everybody. Tim here with another movie review, this time for Justice League. This is the highly anticipated team up movie in the DCEU, and this follows Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman. And the story here is that Batman, Bruce Wayne, has to recruit a team to come together to stop Steppenwolf, who is trying to collect these mother boxes that are all around the world, and he basically, wants to take over the planet. And Justice League movie, yay! So, I'm gonna start off with what I liked about this movie, and what I liked about this movie was all of the characters. I loved Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I think he's a wonderful Bruce Wayne, just absolutely fantastic. I really, really loved his Batman as well. And then we've got Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She's so great. Obviously, her movie was fantastic. Probably the best DCEU movie. And she's fantastic again here. There are a couple moments where I'm like, okay, Diana. Or Gal, whatever you want to say. Or maybe just her acting was just a little bit over the top. But overall, she's just wonderful in the role. And then we've got Ezra Miller as the Flash, who was a big surprise to me because I'm a big fan of the Flash TV show. But I thought Ezra Miller was great. Jason Momoa as Aquaman, absolutely fantastic. He didn't have as much screen time as I would have hoped, or as much as the other heroes, but I still really enjoyed him. And then we have Ray Fisher as Cyborg, and again, somebody who didn't have as much screen time as the other characters, but still, when he was on screen, I enjoyed him. I thought that he added a lot to the story, and he's a big integral part of the story, so it was nice to see him when he was on screen. And then we've also got Henry Cavill as Superman, and I'm so happy they didn't spoil Superman in the marketing for this movie. It is one of the best parts of the movie is Superman. Every moment he's on screen, he's fucking fantastic. And I try not to swear as much as possible on here, because I try to keep PG, but he's so great here, which is just wonderful to see, because he kind of got ousted in Batman v Superman. And while he's not on screen a ton here, like I said, when he is on screen, he's so great. So I'm just like super happy about that. Now let's get into some of the things that I didn't like. Mainly the runtime. And I know people were complaining about this. They were saying, oh, this movie should be 3 hours long. Well, no, it shouldn't have been 3 hours long. But you could tell while watching this movie that this was a 2.5 hour, 2 hour and 45 minute cut down to be under 2 hours. I think the movie still works as a whole at this length, but it just makes me really want to see an extended cut, and I really hope there is one. Like I said, I think the movie still works at the when the credits start. It's at an hour and 50 minutes, which is by far the shortest in the DCEU. I think that the runtime, it takes away from a lot. I think that a lot of the characters that I was just raving about, their backstories, you don't get a whole lot. I would have liked to see more of the Flash. I would have liked to see more of Cyborg's origin. I would have loved to see more Atlantis and Aquaman stuff. You barely get anything of his origin. So I'm hoping we get more of that in either an extended cut or in future films. But again, still love the characters. I just feel like had they extended the runtime, it would have helped this movie a lot. Whereas with BVS, they needed to trim that thing down. That movie was way too long. I don't even hate BVS. I think BVS is a fine movie, but they needed to trim that down. They either needed to trim it down or just release that extended cut, because the Ultimate Edition is actually pretty good. But anyway, back to Justice League. The other stuff that I had problems with, again, it goes to this runtime. There are parts in the plot that you can just tell stuff is missing. And it's not like big plot points. All the big plot point beats are there. But you can just tell that there's some stuff missing from the movie, and I can't really get into it without getting into spoilers, so I'm not going to. But let's move on to the villain, Steppenwolf. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's Kieran Hines, I believe is how you pronounce it. He was on Game of Thrones. He's fine as the villain. The villain's very disposable, like most superhero movies these days. The villain is very one-dimensional, wants to rule the world. When he's on screen, I enjoyed him. I thought his action scenes were really good, especially a scene towards the beginning of the film with the Amazonians was really epic and really intense and looked great in 3D. But when he wasn't on screen, I didn't care. It was fine. I wish there would have been a little more with him too. And again, this goes back to maybe a better script, maybe a bit of a longer runtime. You actually got more backstory for him than you did for Aquaman, Cyborg, or the Flash, which is kind of pathetic considering he's more of a secondary character. And then some of the other characters that are in here, they just kind of threw in. Lois Lane is in this movie. She's fine. Amy Adams is fine. I've never been a big fan of Amy Adams as Lois Lane, but she does fine here. And Diane Lane comes back as Mama Kent. And again, she serves her purpose. She's fine. I don't think she really needed to be in this movie, but because of certain things that happen, I understand why she was. So overall, guys, Justice League is kind of a mixed bag, but it's a mixed bag that I enjoyed. I can completely understand why someone would walk out of this movie and be like, that was a jumbled mess and I didn't like it. But I can also understand how someone would walk out of this movie like me and really enjoyed it. I'm actually seeing the movie again tomorrow, and I'm rather excited to see it again and analyze it a little bit more. I think that it's a movie that if you're a DC fan or if you're a comic book fan in general, you should check it out. There are a couple moments in this movie that actually made me like jaw drop out loud. A couple cameos and a couple lines spoken by both Batman and Superman that just made me like want to poop my pants. They were so awesome. So there is stuff in here to absolutely love. I just feel like it would have benefited from a longer runtime and a better, tighter script. And that also goes back to the fact that, Zack Snyder had some personal issues happen to him. We don't need to get into that in this review. But he had to walk away from the project. Joss Whedon came in and did some reshoots and made the final edit on the film, I believe. So you can tell it's a bit of a mixed bag, but again, it's a mixed bag I enjoyed. So I think that if you're a comic book fan in general, comic book movie fan in general, definitely check this one out. It's definitely better than Suicide Squad, BVS, or Man of Steel, in my opinion, but it's not as good as Wonder Woman. I feel like if an extended cut of this thing comes out and it fixes the issues I had with it, it could be better than Wonder Woman. So I'm hoping that that is the case on Blu-ray. So anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on Justice League. I'm very excited to see it again, and I'm very excited to talk to you guys about it. So comment below and let me know if you've seen Justice League and what you thought about it. I'm going to try to do a spoiler review for this one. I keep talking about how I'm going to do spoiler reviews for Thor or for this or for that, and I never do it. I want to do it for this one because there's a lot to talk about that I couldn't talk about in this review that I thought was absolutely fantastic. So I hope to get that up to you guys sometime this weekend. I'm going to also be seeing Wonder and a couple other movies this weekend. So I'll hopefully have reviews for those up for you as well. Anyway, guys, thanks as always for listening. Be sure to hit that like button and hit subscribe. That helps me out a great deal. And until next time, guys, have a good one.